everybody, welcome back to Book a Lunch Day. So today we'll be making one of my favorite recipe, and it sounds very difficult, but the ingredient is first of all easy to get, and it's really good. It does take a long time because we'll be making bread. The bread that I'm making today, it's a very Asian bread, but I shouldn't call it Asian because it's more like a fusion. So the history of it, it's during World War II. A lot of U.S. Army, they went to Asia, especially Japan. After the war, they introduced bread. Now, at that time, so basically, Japanese, they modified it because they didn't feel like, when you introduce a new cuisine to another country, they always modify it. Then Japanese people modified it and introduced to Taiwan. So then the Taiwanese bread is actually closer. It's actually a little bit different to make, and the way we like it's very different from the regular bread that you will find in the US market, which is why I learned how to make it myself, because if I want to find something like this in Visalia, I have to drive. I wouldn't be able to find it, so I have to drive to either San Francisco Bay Area or Los Angeles. So then my husband's like, I really want this bread. I'm like, fine, I'll make it. So this is the go-to recipe. The base of the bread, it's neither sweet nor savory, so it's just a base bread. So if you want to use this to make a dinner roll, that's totally fine, but we usually like to make a savory kind, so we'll be adding our green onion and also our sausage roll into it, a little hot dog into it, and I'll show you guys how to do that. But first, let's start making the bread. The ingredients are really easy and not super difficult to find. So first of all, and I'll write down the weight and everything in the description below. All right, let's go. The ingredients that you will need are bread flour. This is not all-purpose flour. Bread flour, it's 500 grams. Sugar is 50 grams. Salt is 10 grams. And then this is milk powder. Milk powder is a little bit different. If you don't want to use milk powder, that's totally fine. You can just use milk for the liquid, and you can skip this step. But this shows you the difference because in Asia it was difficult to find milk back then. So a lot of time we use milk powder to replace milk. So milk, 1 egg, whole egg, and then 6 grams of yeast, and then water. It has to be room temperature water of 260 grams, and then also room temperature butter of 50 grams. Now that's all the ingredient for bread that we will make. Alrighty, so now I have my mixing bowl, my KitchenAid set up. In my mixing bowl, first one, I'm going to add in the 500 grams of flour. Okay, and then we're going to add in our sugar on the side. You do want to coordinate where you're placing individual item. That is very important. And then our milk powder. This is I'm looking at my cheat sheet right here. This is 15 grams of milk powder right next to the sugar. Then dry yeast, 6 grams. You want to place them right on top of the sugar and the milk powder. And last, well, not last, the dry ingredient wise, 10 grams of salt, opposite of the yeast, as we don't want to kill the yeast. Do not place the salt on top of the yeast. You will kill the yeast, or it will not be rise fast enough. Okay, and lastly, room temperature water of 260 grant. You can replace this with milk. That will add in a little milky texture. I do not have milk in my fridge today, so we'll just use water. And then just, oh, let it rip. Oh, done. Oh. Alright. And also our egg. Alrighty, so now our bread, well, our dough is pretty well combined. Now we are going to add in our butter, room temperature butter. And we're just going to push that in. This is 50 grams of butter. I really like this recipe. The second reason is because it doesn't require too much butter, and I just feel like it's a tiny bit healthier, but it still tastes really good. Have a little bit more butter. Come on. Sure. Okay. And then continue. And then let's keep it going. So now we are going to let the dough absorb all that butter. We're going to let this keep going until the dough absorbs all the butter and you don't have any become a very nice dough shape. So it doesn't stick to the bottom of the bowl. It doesn't stick to anything. It's just kind of a nice piece of dough. It also doesn't stick to your finger. It sticks to nothing. Then we know it's ready. So it will take a little bit. If you're doing this by hand, it will be a really good workout. So definitely recommend you get like a mixer or something like that. It will be very, very helpful. Alrighty, so it's been about 20 minutes or so, and now I'm pretty sure the dough is ready. So I'm gonna turn it off, and let's see. It doesn't really stick to my finger anymore. It's nice and smooth. Alright, so now we're going to shape it on the board right here into a big circle. we're going to shape it in our cone. You can put a little bit of flour on it to make it easier to work with. You don't have to if you don't want to. Especially I'm using this non-stick surface, so it's gonna be fine for me. Alright. Come on out. It's extra sticky today. Alright. I'm just going to need a little bit more. I feel like it's still quite sticky. Alright. Trying to shape it right here. Doesn't stuck to my finger much. Then turn. I want that nice smooth surface. Then put it back in here. And then I'm going to wet the towel and cover it with wet. Grab a clean kitchen towel, cover it. It has to be wet so it doesn't dry out the dough, and you want to let it rise for 30 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes. Alrighty, so it's been 30 minutes. Now we're gonna see if whether or not our dough has risen to the point that we want. For this stage, we're gonna just put a little bit of flour on top and use our finger and poke. So what you want to do is to make sure that little hole that you just poked, it didn't bounce back. Right, so that's good. That means our yeast and everything is really good. It's active, and where is my? And then we're going to roll it out a little bit. Okay, nice and fluffy. And it's hot today, so you know, perfect for making bread. Don't have to wait that long. I put a little flour on my board now, so it's easier to work with. Alright, so with the rolling pin, we're going to dust a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to roll it out, release all the air. other side also. Basically, you want to make it into a big square-ish dough. Alright. Now 3-fold both way. So you're gonna have, I'm just gonna close the end. You're gonna have a very nice surface on the top. Alright, and back in our bowl for the second proof, also 30 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
Alrighty, so it's been another 30. Alrighty, so it's been another 30 minutes. Here we go. Let's take a look at our dough. Same thing, we're going to do the same test like we did before. And a little bit of flour and poke. Right, didn't bounce back. It still have that little hole there. That's what we want. And then we're just going to spread our surface with a little bit of flour. And I also have my weight ready to go, as we'll be cutting and separating them. Okay. Since we'll be making 2 different flavors today, they're kind of similar but a little bit different. One has sausage and one is just green onion. So we will get that going. So nice and fluffy. Now we want to roll it out. The reason is we want to roll the big and break the big bubble so it's more even. Let the air out. There. 3-fold. $907, 907 grams. Alexa, what's 907 divided by 2?
907 divided by 2 is 453.5.
Oh, we don't need to do that 0.5. Couldn't find my cutter. I will look for it in a little bit. Kind of divide 453. Okay. 443. 53. Alright, so this is 453, put it away. We're going to work on this half first. this half, I'm going to make around let's make 12 total, so this one makes 6. Alexa, what's 453 divided by 6?
453 divided by 6 is 75.5.
Right, so we'll make 75 of them. 75 gram of it. Where is my dough cutter? Alright. Right, so they're approximately 75 to 77. Roll into a circle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to divide all these little balls into 3. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just something like that. And then roll individual little ball and place them here. With the food wrap, we want to cover it up so it doesn't dry up while we work on the other one. Okay, so we're going to divide this one in 6 again. Alexa, what's 907 divided by 2?
907 divided by 2 is 453.5.
Alexa, what's 453 divided by 6?
453 divided by 6 is 75.5.
All right. And then switch. Cover this one up. No, let's open this one first. Darn, and go again. Okay, so I have made a bunch of strings with our dough, and then we're going to cover this up and then work with the other one. It is a long process, so it's fun when you are making it, you know, over the weekend or with your family. All right, this one I have some sausage. These are turkey sausage that I bought from the store, and I just kind of use a towel, paper towel, to pat it down so they are dry. So what we're going to do is kind of a similar process. I'm going to roll it out directly. You want to make sure it's a little bit longer than the sausage. Once you turn, it's going to shrink a little bit. I'm going to roll it up again. But I'm only rolling the end to make it nice and thin. I'm going to roll it up, kind of like when you're making a pig blanket. And grab a knife. We're going to cut it in half. Right? And then the other one, we're going to cut it in half again, but we're not going to cut through. Okay. Just going to cut the sausage in half, but not the bottom of the dough. So you're going to have that and that. To make a nice cross or a square, depends on which way you're looking at, like that. All right, next one. So you roll it out, make sure it's a little bit longer than the sausage, and you will shrink a little bit once you lift it up. You put in a little bit more flour. Then I'm just going to roll the end. Half and a cut through. When you put it down, you want to make sure there's a little room between them, because we will be rising them again. Sometimes I use it a little bit smaller, and I usually try to make 14 of them instead of 12, so make it a little bit bigger than before. I only have 16 sausage. I only have 6 sausages left of house left, so I would just make it so there's more bread. Alright, that's the last one. It's a little bit oddly shaped, but it's going to be fine. So these are done. Look how pretty they are. They will be, we're going to set this aside for another 30 minutes. I'm going to have to put a little food cover on them to rise for another 30 minutes. And back on this one, we're going to braid these. Okay, so take one strip. I like to put the big one in the middle and just kind of glue them together. And then just braid it how you would braid hair. And then just fold the end to the bottom. So, ta-da! You have a little nice braided bun. Again, scoosh the top together. Have the lines. Braid them. One over here, one over here. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can braid your buns, but I only know how to do the most simple one. Squish them together, highlighting the back, and hide this one in the back. And the last one. The last one is a little bit oddly shaped because one of the string is smaller than the other two. It'll be fine. Also cover it up with food covering to keep it from drying out and keep flies away or cats from destroying our masterpieces. Right? So you look like this. Alright. So during this time, we'll be prepping the topping. And let me just put this away and I'll be right back. Alrighty, now we're going to be making our topping. So we'll have a bunch of green onion. That's going to be the main kind of thing on our braided one. It's the name is actually called a braided green onion bread. It sounds very delicious. So just a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, a little bit of vegetable oil. Give it a quick toss. Basically you want to make sure the green onion is all covered in the vegetable oil, so then it will be nice and crispy. It will taste amazing afterward. Even you can add a little bit more salt because we do have our bread is pretty big this time. So I want to make sure it's enough seasoned. Okay. And this side, I'm going to separate the egg white and egg yolk. I'm going to put the egg white in here and the egg yolk in here. We're not going to be using egg white. And since our bread is extra big this time, I'm going to use 2. I'm gonna put the egg white aside. We're not gonna be needing these. This can be breakfast tomorrow. I'm gonna beat up the egg yolk. Just gonna pour a little bit in here, not too much. Then mix it into. Some recipe I see that they do that you can use a whole egg if you want to. I think I tried that before too for the egg wash, and I feel like the egg yolk might have a better color, and I'm just gonna give it a try this time. All right. Because of the salt, the moisture from the green onion is releasing, so it's nice and it smells really good. Alright, so after we have about 20 minutes left on our timer for the third rice, and I cover the bread with extra layer of clean towel. In about 10 minutes I will be starting to preheat my oven already. So we have about 10 minutes before our bread is done rising, and we're going to start preheating our oven. It's very important to preheat your oven when you're baking. So bake, we're going to set a 375 and start. So it's preheating, and it will be ready, and you will beep when it's ready. And we can alright, so it's been another 30 minutes. This is a very long process, I know, but it's quite fun. And we're going to add our toppings now. Let's see. And for this one, we're also going to on top. Now, we're going to add our English. It was very white on the side. Maybe it's because if you don't do English, it's going to be very pale and not be pretty. Alright, finish this. Put everything back on there. Okay. Now we're gonna bake it for 12 minutes or until golden brown. 12 minutes. Let's go. Is our first batch. See? Look how pretty that is. So that's why, because it's going to poof out a lot more once it's in the oven. So then you really do have to put extra topping on it, because see, this is really nice. You can still see the breading, the part where we breaded the dough. And then we're just going to put it on our cooling rack to cool it down. Oops. Go back on there. One more. Nice and soft. Alright, so this one is done. Take a look at the oven. Bread that we made today. And they are still too hot, so we'll be trying one in a little bit once it cooled down a little bit.